Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the installment of Scott's Selections here for Friday, January 8th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up having a very nice day once again in both the NBA and college basketball. We won the regular play of the day with Colorado, -2, which was available at Bet Online at -105. We faded Oregon on the road as it only played one road game in the entire season, and it looked underwhelming against Washington. So I thought that Oregon would struggle, and they definitely did. Colorado looked great at home once again, and Colorado was able to ice the game late with some free throws, won the game pretty handily, and we picked up a nice, easy winner there. Then on the joint video with Scott Steen, I also gave out Washington State -2, which was available on Bovada at -115 against California. California's offense is awful, and California was missing its best player, so I simply thought that Washington State would win that game handily, and it did. Blew the game open in the second half. Nice, easy winner there. And for the NBA, we ended up going 2-0. I gave out the over 226.5 between Brooklyn and Philly at -108 on Bet Online. Got pretty lucky there. The line ended up dropping to around 222 once Kyrie was announced out. However, it didn't matter. The Nets ended up scoring 120-plus points, and the game went over. But Philly's defense, definitely not that great. Definitely only number one defensive efficiency because of its easy schedule up to this point. So keep that in mind moving forward. And then to close off the day, we got pretty lucky. Gave out the over 224.5 between the Mavericks and the Nuggets at -110 on Bet Online. And that ended up going over in overtime. So a nice 4-0 day for plus 3.65 units, and hopefully that success will carry over into Friday. Before today's play of the day, we're going to be looking at the college card here. It's going to be on a Big Ten matchup between Purdue and Michigan State. And for the play of the day, we're going to be going with Michigan State -4.5, which is available on Bet Online -110, a time recording of 1:40 a.m. Eastern Time. A couple reasons why I like Michigan State in this spot. First of all, Michigan State is 8-3 on the season. Purdue is 7-5. However, Michigan State is 6-1 at home this season, as it has looked a lot better in the Breslin Center, and Purdue has been awful on the road this season, as it is 2-5 on the highway. But looking at Purdue, Purdue has lost 3 of its last 4 games, and by at least 5 points. Each of those games came against ranked teams, and each of those games were on the road. Then it ended up losing to Iowa by 15, lost to Rutgers by 5. Rutgers also missing its best player in that game, and it also lost to Illinois by 8 on the road. So Purdue, with Matt Painter, really has looked a night and day in comparison to their road results with their home results. And I simply think Purdue will struggle once again against another ranked team on the highway on Friday. Michigan State had been struggling as Michigan State ended up losing each of its last 3 games about a week ago or so, as it ended up losing to Northwestern on the road, Wisconsin at home, and Minnesota on the road. However, ever since then, Michigan State has looked a lot better. Beat Nebraska by 7 on the road. I know Nebraska's not any good, so that's not really worth anything. But ended up having its best game of the season in its last performance. It ended up beating Rutgers by 23 at home. Rutgers, I know it's only 3-3 in conference play, but it was the 15th ranked team in the country, and Michigan State only gave up 45 points to a Rutgers team that had been fantastic on offense the entire season. Michigan State only allowed Rutgers to shoot 30.5% from the floor and 25% from the three-point line. So Michigan State defensively was just magnificent, and I think that'll carry over into this game. Purdue, the main issues that I have with Purdue is the fact that offensively it has been a lot worse this season on the road than it has at home. Purdue this season's averaging 71.6 points per game. However, on the road it's averaging 68.3. So it has dropped roughly 3 points in production on the road. And Michigan State is averaging 78 points per game overall. And if you look at Michigan State at home, it's averaging 82.6. So Purdue, once again, is about 3 points per game worse on the road. And Michigan State's around 4 points per game better at home. I think Michigan State defensively should be able to clamp down on Purdue, who has been extremely reliant on its big men, but guard play besides Stefanovic has really not been that great lately. And I think that Michigan State should be able to do enough with the likes of Henry and Hauser in the middle. You also have Watts, who is a bit of a wild card, but he has been playing better a bit lately. And I think Michigan State should be able to do enough to end up beating this Purdue team, which has looked awful on the road this season, en route to a nice win. It could potentially be a double-digit win. We've seen how bad Big Ten teams have been on the road so far this season, and Purdue has definitely been a perfect case for that statement. So once again, the play of the day here for Friday, January 8th is going to be on Michigan State -4.5, which is available on Bet Online -110. That's been Solomon Scott Selections. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.